Over the span of 300 years, Spain ruled the Philippines. Their colonization triggered quite a number of historical events that inevitably became the highlights of Philippine history. Through these events, the Philippine government went through various changes and struggles. By looking through the rich history of the Philippine Revolution, let's see how the form of government was shaped by the very events that laid the foundation of what the Philippines is today. Let's begin. Universities were exclusive only to the Spaniards until 1863, where it opened to the natives. This gave rise to the intelligentsia. After the unjust execution of the martyr priests Gaburza, the reformists such as Lopez Haina, Del Pilar, Rizal, and Luna initiated the peaceful revolution through the La Solidaridad and other types of literature, such as poems and novels. The Katipunan was founded by Bonifacio a day after the capture and arrest of Jose Rizal. It had three basic objectives. 1. Work to free the Philippines from Spain. 2. Teach good conduct and deeds. And 3. Defend the poor and the oppressed. The Katipunan government has three main bodies or levels. The first and highest body is the Kataasang Sanggunian, or the Supreme Court. It had the following officers. August of 1896, on the eve of the revolution, Bonifacio reorganized the Katipunan into a government with a cabinet, with him as the Supremo. The second level in the Katipunan government was the Sangguniang Bayan, or the Provincial Council for Provinces, and the third being the Sangguniang Balangay, or Popular Council for Towns. A fourth body exists called the Sangguniang Hukuman, or the Judicial Council, which is a court to decide cases arising between members of the Katipunan. The Katipunan government does not have an actual constitution, but is guided by Bonifacio's Decalogue and Emilio Jacinto's Cartilla ng Katipunan, which extols good characters like doing good to one another, honesty and integrity, and the value of giving one's life for a cause. When the revolution broke out in 1896, many provinces were not sympathetic to the movement. The ranks of the Katipunan then broke into two factions, the Magdiwang and the Magdalo. The two factions of the Katipunan decided to meet at Tejeros on March 22, 1897, with the intention of establishing the Republic of the Philippines and its election of officers. It ended up with Aguinaldo as president and Bonifacio as the director of Interior. However, someone by the name of Daniel Terona, a Magdalo man, challenged Bonifacio's elected position, saying that the Katipunan founder was not qualified. This and Tirona's subsequent action angered Bonifacio, prompting him to nullify all that had been talked about in the assembly. Bonifacio then broke off. He and his brothers decided to form a government separate from that formed in the convention. This concerned Aguinaldo, saying that it might cause a division and turmoil between the Filipinos, and thus decided for the trial and execution of Bonifacio. And on May 10, 1897, Bonifacio and his brother were executed at Mount Buntis, Maragondon, Cavite. On the 1st of November 1897, Aguinaldo established the Biak na Bato Republic. It was to separate the Philippines from the Spanish monarchy and their formation into an independent state. The Constitution created a Supreme Council, which has the power to create laws, collect taxes, and direct military operations. The provisional government exercised control and supervision over all national and local, political, social, and economic affairs of the Philippines. The Constitution ended with the Pact of the Biak na Bato, which desired the end of the dragging and destructive conflict between Spain and the Philippines. This was signed on December 15, 1897. This did not end well as both parties did not keep their respective promises. After the US declared war with Spain on April 25, 1898, the Philippines was caught in the crossfire. While in Hong Kong, Aguinaldo was advised to establish a dictatorial government until peace was restored in the Philippines. He does so on his return on May 1898. He proclaimed himself dictator until the entire archipelago was pacified and a president were to be appointed. Aguinaldo established this type of government, perhaps in the belief that a government with a strong executive leader was what was demanded by the times. And on June 12, 1898, Philippine independence was proclaimed in Kawit, Cavite. Aguinaldo then established a revolutionary government with the advice of Apolinario Mabini. This aimed to struggle for Philippine independence until all nations recognized the Philippines and prepared the nation for building a genuine republic. Apart from the president, it had four governmental departments. It also established the Congress, which is tasked to look after the people's interests, implement the revolutionary laws, uphold agreements and debts, study and affirm the reports of the Secretary of Finance, and new taxes. On September 1898, the Malolos Convention was held, which ratified the proclamation of Philippine independence made by Aguinaldo. On January 1899, the First Republic of the Philippines was solemnly inaugurated, and the Malolos Constitution was proclaimed. According to the Constitution, the government has three branches: the Executive Department, where the President resides, the Legislative Department, and the Judiciary, which is composed of the Supreme Court of Justice and other smaller courts. Being the first Philippine Republic, the Constitution aimed to improve the quality of life of the Filipinos. A few of its important provisions include free public education at the primary level and protection of lives and property. However, the Philippine Republic was short-lived.